Hey everybody, welcome into the Postgame mini podcast. Tennessee a 56-34 winner over Kentucky on a night where the offense had the explosives, right? And that's not just for Tennessee. Kentucky's offense also had the explosives, but it was good to see the explosives return to the Tennessee offense. 21 first quarter points, 14 in both the second and the third, and 7 there in the fourth quarter on an 8-minute drive just to kind of seal the game away there in the waning minutes. I'm Eric Kane alongside Austin Price and Matt Ray. Tennessee 500 yards total offense. Austin, that's the story of the game. Joey Aguilar, a phenomenal showing, completing 77% of his passes, throwing for almost 400 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Kentucky decided to play Tennessee man-to-man and try to stop the run, and they did stop the run. The problem is they didn't have a soul in the secondary that could cover Tennessee's receivers, and I'm not sure Tennessee had a soul in the secondary that could cover Kentucky's receivers. So a lot of back and forth, and but the offense for Tennessee tonight was the story. They were really, really good. Joey was fantastic on a week when he didn't practice a whole lot. He's been banged up, and did a really nice job. Tennessee had 3 receivers go over 100 yards for the first time since 2019, but 3 100-yard receivers against Missouri. They do it tonight. The only difference in that game and this game, Eric, was that Joey just missed out on a 400-yard performance. JG went over 400 yards in that performance.
Yeah, came within 4 yards of getting 400 there, Matt Ray. And the run game was not there, and I mean it's hard to really get too frustrated about it whenever Tennessee was having explosive play after explosive play through the air. I thought Tennessee obviously ran it better as the game went along. Deshaun Bishop looked better. I thought Star Thomas looked okay tonight. The yards per carry don't look that bad in the end, but it took until the end of the fourth quarter to get over 100 yards rushing. But again, the story was through the air. I thought the touchdown to Ethan Davis there up the seam over 2 defenders. What a great throw. And I thought that was one of the most important, probably the most important touchdown of the game.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It was probably the most important touchdown of the game because really Kentucky had a chance of 2 for 1 Tennessee right there coming out of the half.
Yep.
And, we saw Josh Heupel in his first appearance as the Tennessee head coach up here in Lexington come up here and steal points late in the half, and it proved to be critical. And really, it really killed a lot of the momentum that Kentucky had picked up there late in the second quarter in this one. And it was good to see Ethan Davis back out there, and Tennessee flexed him out into the slot, and it was a really, really nice throw.
It was a really good throw, one of many good throws on the night. Defensively, it's so frustrating about this defense. It's boom or bust. It always has been. But, in the first half, I made the comment on the board in the game thread, this game's been all about the defense so far. And right after I said that, they gave up another explosive pass play. But really, it was 2 turnovers, allowing for 14 points for Tennessee's way. And then they gave up 2 explosive pass plays. I mean, again, it took Tennessee to the third quarter. They played six plus quarters until they got their first sack. It's just a lot of the same. And Austin, I know you asked about this in the postgame show. Can this be correctable? Can this be fixable? But it's literally boom or it's bust for Tennessee's defense. And thankfully, your offense scored 56 points tonight. Obviously, Kentucky's not a good football team, but you're going to have to live like that the rest of the year.
Yeah, it certainly feels like it. I said it on the 2-minute drill after the game. Tennessee's defense, when it flashes as bright as the sun. The rest of the time, it's an eclipse. I mean, it is just it's mind-numbing. And we talk about this every week, Eric. This is a Tennessee defense that, again, flashes big and then just can't get out of their own way, whether it's tackling, poor angles, poor run fits, forcing a kid outside when you just should have forced him inside or vice versa. They just continue to make dumb mistakes, and it's just not good. And it's going to bite them at some point. Maybe next week against Oklahoma. It might be against Florida in the swamp. I mean, they found any other way to lose down there. Or potentially against Vanderbilt to close out the year. So, I mean, they've got to figure some things out, or the offense has just got to keep scoring, much like they did 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, we'll obviously go back and watch the tape, but man, Matt Ray, give me so much more Jaden Perlotti. I know he's running around, he doesn't know what he's doing on some things, but man, he plays so hard, he packs a punch, he is so quick. He made a couple impact plays here tonight. Man, 27 looks good out there. And what I liked about this, guys, and Austin, you can chime in as well, at one point in time, you had 12 out there with 27, 2 freshman linebackers, Sidney Walton at safety, Caleb Beasley at safety, and maybe they shouldn't all been there at one time, but at one point, like, what do you got to lose, right? They were playing a lot on the defensive end, but specifically at linebacker. Love that you saw Perlotti as much as you did, and I know Arion Carter didn't play tonight, obviously, but also saw Jaden Harmon. I thought that was a good thing.
Well, at some point, these guys that you've brought in, like Jaden Harmon, Jaden Perlotti, Edwin Spillman played. I thought he had his best football game as a Vol tonight.
Yep.
But when you've brought these guys in that are athletic, that are talented, that can do some of these things that you've been working towards defensively, there comes a point in time where I feel like if you're a coach, and maybe these guys are missing assignments, like Jaden Perlotti, he missed a couple of assignments tonight. He missed a couple of run fits, but he made up for it. At some point, you've got to put some of these guys in there that are playing like their hair is on fire, that they're a little bit quicker, they're a little bit more instinctual, and then you got to go back and correct those things. So at the end of the day, I think you got to see more run for those guys down the stretch. And like Austin said, there's some really bright flashes, and I think that's exciting for this defensive staff. But then at the same time, I think it's got to be really deflating when you have guys in the right position a number of times, and then there's just so many missed tackles.
Yeah, absolutely. The missed tackles again. Surely, I think they had over 10. That'd be probably the sixth straight game if they have over 10 missed tackles, which I'm sure they would. But I mean, like the 71-yarder in the first quarter. I mean, simply you give out outside contain, the guy hits the sideline, and then he's off to the races. It is as simple as that. And it's really just so frustrating to sit back there and watch that.
Well, to be honest with you, Eric, and I said this in your live thread on the board during the game, the first half was the opposite of what they've been all year. All year, they've not really given up big explosive plays. They've just kind of been death by paper cut, third down conversion after third down conversion after third down conversion touchdown. Like, they hadn't given up the big offensive plays. There early, they were able to get off the field a few times, force some turnovers. I think the two teams combined to go 0 for their first 8 or 9 on third downs. Like, I mean, neither team could extend a drive there at one point if they got to a third down. But the explosive plays tonight, man, they reared their ugly head. Now, as Heupel said, the pick six by Idris Farouk, which was a fantastic play. The fumble that got batted around, and I think everybody touched it at one point. That those two changed the way the game was played, much like the touchdown at the end of the half changed the way the game was played. Again, I think it's just for fans, it's hard because you see what Joey is bringing to the table. You see what the receivers or just the offense in general is bringing. And it feels like 2021 or 2022 where you have to score a buku of points to have a chance to win.
Yeah, and my comment was made just like we've seen that on third downs all of this year. So, like, it might not have been an explosive play, but you lose contain, miss a tackle. It's like a first down. It's just it's the same stuff. Tonight, it was amplified because some of those were explosive plays. And it's also really frustrating because you make the reference to 21-22. It's like Tennessee has so much more talent on defense right now.
So much more. It's not close. I thought there were two givens in this game. Tennessee be able to run the football. They really didn't until there at the end, when they were able to get a little bit of momentum. And then I thought they'd be able to get after the quarterback. And as you pointed out earlier, I mean, it took till the third quarter before you got a sack. And, I mean, Boley was carving you up looking like Joe Montana out there. I mean, it's maddening. The last two games, Tennessee's inability to get to the quarterback. And they're going to have to get to the quarterback next week. John Mateer can move around. They're going to have to make some plays. Maybe it's just playing on the road. I don't know what it is, but the last two games, Tennessee's pass rush has been null and void.
And you talk about death by 1,000 paper cuts. Each of the last two games, Alabama and then Kentucky, they've had long, sustaining drives. The one that really was just crazy to me in the second quarter, Kentucky got the football with 10 minutes and 12 seconds. They go 96 yards on 16 plays, taking 8:35 off the clock. They score a touchdown. They had converted one third down prior in the game to that point. It was on a penalty. They converted 3 of 4 third downs, converted a fourth down as well. It's like, goodness gracious, you had 4 different chances to get off the field, and you just couldn't get off the field. And Alabama, of course, had one like that. They went, I think it was 99 yards on one of those drives that Alabama went on last week. So, Really frustrating. Of course, getting Arion Carter back, you hope will help a little bit. Again, he's played every game besides this one, but it's better to have Arion Carter than to not have Arion Carter. You brought up Oklahoma, guys. Oklahoma lost to Ole Miss today. John Mateer, he was a little bit better. I didn't watch a whole lot of that game, but just looking at the stat sheet, he was a little bit better. I think it's still clear that he's just not who he was before the injury. Oklahoma coming in to Neyland Stadium. Obviously, Neyland's going to be packed. It's going to be loud. Early indications, early thoughts about that game as Tennessee is now 6-2 and 3-2 in Southeastern Conference play.
John Mateer will be back to his old self next week against this defense. So just go ahead and understand. Even if he's not healthy, he'll look like Joe Montana again next week against this defense.
Well, that's not a play. It's not a play-in game next weekend, but it's a play-out game. You can certainly play yourself right out of the college football playoff discussion.
Well, I mean, I'll be real honest. I think there's a real chance even if Tennessee wins out, they don't get in. I mean, you start looking at, how these teams are going to end up at 2 losses or more. I mean, A&M continues to be undefeated. They're 8-0. They're probably not getting 2 between here and the house. And even if they do, I mean, their resume will probably be better than Tennessee's. I thought, today when South Carolina choked against Alabama, that was a chance for, because Alabama's got some tough games ahead. They play Oklahoma. They play Auburn. I think they have to play LSU. But now, I mean, they're sitting there with the 1 loss. If they'd been at 2 losses with those games, maybe they go 9-3 and you can get past them. Who's Ole Miss going to lose to between here and the house? Maybe the Egg Bowl gets them a second loss, but they're going to continue to be ranked high enough. I mean, I really think there's a real shot Tennessee, even if they win out, does not get into the CFP. But guess what? You just got to go win every game and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, can't worry about the college football playoff right now. Obviously, you got to worry about a really good Oklahoma team next week and just kind of figure it out at the end of the season. Anything else from this game, Matt, that stood out to you down there on the field? Tennessee again. I said earlier, like, the game never felt like Tennessee was going to lose. The only time you got a little was when they cut it within a touchdown after leading 21 points in the first quarter. That they brought it within a touchdown right for the half, and then Tennessee goes on and scores for the half, and you're like, okay, Tennessee's not going to lose. It was frustrating again, scoring 34 points for Kentucky, but the game was never in jeopardy. Anything else from field level that you want to add about Tennessee's 56-34 win?
Yeah, I mean, this was by no means a good Kentucky team, not a very good football team at all. But I think
It's awful.
When you look at the operation for Tennessee on the road, the past two out of the past 3 weekends, or 2 out of the past 4 weekends, whatever it's been, Mississippi State and Alabama, like their operation just was not clean on multiple sides of the football, offensively, defensively, special teams. They just didn't have those self-inflicted wounds tonight that really killed them. They, again, a lot of missed tackles.
And the Vols had, I mean, I won't say it was 50-50, but I mean, this was not a loud crowd. I mean, if you were going to have a false start due to sound in this game, something was going to be wrong.
Yep. But, none of the drop passes that you saw against Alabama, none of the, missed assignments that really cost you. I mean, you did blow, some big explosive plays early, but they cleaned that up, and then it went back to kind of death by paper cut, which is what their MO has been all year. So
one of those explosive plays was Boo Carter got beat on the double move, and then he just had no chance.
Yeah, and then
he gave up, quit running, and then we didn't see him again until the third or fourth quarter. I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, if you're going to give bad effort, you get bad playing time.
Yep, no doubt. Tennessee, a 56-34 win, improving to 6-2 on the year and 3-2 in SEC play. Returns home against the Oklahoma Sooners. Going to be a big week, obviously, for Tennessee in terms of this football season. It's going to be a big week for Josh Heupel as he plays his alma mater. And, of course, it's a big week because Tennessee has a bye week the week following, so a good chance to get a win. You don't want to get a loss and then sit on that for a couple weeks. So get a win, go into the bye week, and then see what happens the rest of the way. For Austin Price, Matt Ray, I am Eric Kane. Tennessee, a 56-34 winner. This has been the Volquest.com post-game mini podcast.